So, hey everybody, Ben here with IV Drip Launch. I have Elysa and Garret with Next Level Infusions in Florida. How's it going, guys?
Hey Ben, nice
Hey.
to see you.
Nice to see you again.
It's going well here in Florida. The IV
Nice.
business is going well. It's busy. It's booming. We're super excited to be here with you.
Cool. Yeah, I actually seen a post that you'd put on Facebook a little bit ago that you guys were hiring. You were looking for some people to hire. So it seems like, yeah, business is going good. Things are growing. So did you find people to hire, or how's that going?
So we did. We hired some nurses. It's been trial and tribulations with nurses. You know, you have the highs and the lows. It's definitely interesting when you expand and have to manage other people is a new experience, but we did hire. We're doing well now. We hired a super rock star nurse. We hired 2 nurses. One of them is like a super rock star, and we're happy. It's been great.
Yeah,
Awesome. Awesome.
there's it's always really nice to see other nurses that have such a passion for this. But I can tell you, if you are new into this business, one of the hardest things you'll run into is managing people. That was the biggest shock to us when we started to expand. It's just a lot. It's a lot managing people, different types of people, as well as logistics, especially being mobile. That you know, you don't want one of your nurses to go from one end of the earth all the way to the other, right? It takes up time. Time is money. So it just figuring out where everyone needs to be at the right times, and especially, the mobile business is so, what's the right
At the
word?
drop of the hat.
Yeah, at the drop of a hat, drop of a dime. Someone's sick, they want you over there. So managing people, don't rush to manage people.
Yeah.
Trust me. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's difficult. And it's highly frustrating, but it's all worth it at the end of the day, right?
Right.
So yeah, others.
Awesome. Yeah. No. So yeah, big step for sure. Yeah. Congratulations. That's all. I've been watching, and working, and talking with you guys for a long time now, and just seeing your business grow has been pretty cool to see. So yeah, congratulations on that. Obviously, you guys are offering a good service. Your clients obviously love what you do. So that's great. I love to see the growth. Because that's a big fear of people is, when I start this business, am I gonna be able to get clients and things like that? But, with just good customer service and offering, actually having a good product and solution for your clients is what, to me is going to be the name of the game. Right. So that's awesome to see.
Absolutely. I'm going to tell you one of the main things, when we first started, there were so many different resources for information. And that was one of the things I liked so much about your page, was that there was really great resources for information and lots of people super helpful. So it definitely helped us with the growth, and you in general, just knowing some of the marketing tools and different things has been super instrumental in some of our growth. So we really appreciate that too.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah. Well, you guys are here, you're doing it. But tell me a little bit about, before you got started, like what led you to IV therapy, and, what's behind all that? Why did you choose IV therapy, and why did you even get into it?
So I've been a nurse 15 years. My entire nursing career was in infusion. I started with oncology, left the oncology world, worked in a IV infusion center. I'm doing biologic infusions. But when I was in nursing school, this was a dream for me. There was somewhere in Atlanta called the hydration station. And I was like, oh man, I want to do this one day. I went home. I told my parents because I was young. My dad was like, that's the dumbest idea ever. Not a good idea. So 10 years later, 12 years later, I met Garret. I wasn't sleeping one night. I saw an ad about starting your own IV company. And I'm like, I'm going to do this. So I registered to get the information about it. He literally said to me, that's the dumbest thing ever. No one's going to pay for this. And I said, but let me try. Let's do.
What I said was, nobody's going to pay for this shit.
That's what he said.
So if I can't curse, you might have, whatever. But that's my exact words.
Yeah.
And then she said, well, at the very least, I know we bought enough for 12 IVs. She said, at the very least, I know 12 people, being in the nursing world, that I could at least, make our money back, right? Sell the 12 IVs.
So we put the business on a credit card, and we never had to use our personal funds ever again.
Wow. Wow.
So
that's awesome.
I flipped it, and I was like, I told you I could do it. I did it. And then I just went out running, and I had a full-time job. We have 3 kids. I made it all work. I was out leaving early in the morning, coming home late at night, because I just really wanted this to work. And after 15 months of juggling all of that, I was able to quit my full-time job and supplement. Now both of us just work the business, and he's not a nurse. So he does the reminding that this is a business and I have to charge people. But
man. Try, but that's the nurses, right? The nurse wants to help. The nurse doesn't want to have to charge or, make it awkward on money. And we've seen this a lot, right? And that's where a lot of nurses struggle or don't take into consideration that this is also a business, right?
Right.
This to be a hobby, cool. You can make it a hobby. That's great. Make a few dollars on the side, nothing crazy. If you want to make it a business, you have to treat it like a business. But also nurses are used to getting orders, right? Handed down from doctors, whatever. So they're not used to the business side of it, right? And for them to be successful on that, needing to transition and learn how to be a business person is vital, because, listen, don't get me wrong. We made so many mistakes. Okay.
Yeah.
Many mistakes along the lines, right? The best thing, we were able to do was learn from them, not make them again. But, it's a business at the end of the day. I can say for any nurse that wants to try this out, give yourself a good 3 months. If you can't see this as a business within 3 months, then, maybe this isn't a thing. It's either going to be a hobby, it's going to be a business, or this is not something you really want to do. Within 3 months, you'll know all of that. Mark my words.
So maybe
3 months.
Yeah. So maybe that magic number is just start with 12. Start with enough supplies to do 12 infusions, right? If you hit the 12, like, you're on to something. So,
absolutely.
At the very least, I think we ended up having to order halfway through maybe the 12, some more vitamins, bags, stuff like that. And again, nobody's going to pay for this shit, but we still have to reorder. Right. It's very
no, it's not going to happen.
And also, full transparency, I wasn't even in this business when we started this business. I didn't know anything about it. I ended up getting a sales job in this business, and then another one, and then we were quitting our jobs. But it's a learning curve. But nurses can tell within 3 months. My opinion, I've seen it.
Yeah. So you guys have a unique advantage, right? So Elysa, she's the nurse and takes care of the patients, and then Garret, sounds like you're kind of on the business end of things, making sure that these clients are actually getting charged for these infusions, because you have to bring the revenue in so Elysa can continue to care for these patients, right, and actually make it a business. So yeah, you guys have a unique advantage. That's awesome that you're able to work together on this.
Yeah, and not kill each other. It's perfect.
That too.
Yeah. Right.
Together every day.
Cool.
All the time. But it's important, because when we've talked to other business owners like ours that don't have, like a Garret, for example, they do struggle. And it is really because it's just in our nature to want to help people. The other thing that's kind of difficult, I think, for nurses is thinking outside of the box, because we're so used to taking orders from, like, direct orders from a doctor, and there's no real, not that nurses don't critical think, and I don't want anybody to think that that's what I'm saying, but there is more room to critical think in this and more room to do a little bit more than you do when you're working in a hospital, for example, where like they tell you, hey, at 10 o'clock, give this med, right? Where this is a little different. And the vitamin world is so different than the Western medicine world. So that was a whole nother thing I had to learn. And vitamins are, I mean, they're amazing. What they do for people is just absolutely amazing. And that's why I love this so much, because I'm actually healing people versus chemotherapy hurting people to get them better. You know, it's a different atmosphere and I love it.
Yeah, good points. Awesome. Well, now I want to ask a little bit about the business itself. So like, what do you guys have, like a specialty, or do you have a niche in a certain area? Is it more general wellness, or what are like some of the more popular infusions or vitamin infusions that you're doing, or what are you seeing more of?
So we do a lot of general wellness. Most of the time when people hear about us, when we work events and things, the main thing I hear is, oh, you're like the hangover people. And it's funny that people bring that up, because we really don't do a lot of hangover at all. If I could tell you in the last 2 years, if maybe we've done 10, 15 hangover IVs, we do a ton of general wellness. I have a lot of people who are in, they're athletes and they need, aminos to help with muscle regeneration. We do some sickness stuff, people calling us because they have flu or a stomach virus and they don't want to go to the hospital. We also live in it's a master plan community, but it's in the middle of like the country. So there's really nothing around us. So that kind of helps to our benefit, because to go to the walk-in clinic, for example, is about a half hour from here. So nobody really wants to get up, go to the walk-in clinic. They're going to call me and say, hey, can you give me a bag of fluids, or can I get a Myers cocktail? And so that's been kind of beneficial for us, because things are not very close to us.
Yeah. I mean, helping keep people out of the hospital is one of the things we like to, pride ourselves on, right? But out of the hospital for like, dehydration or, stuff like that. I mean, I'll give you a quick story. I had kidney stones probably like last year, I think, something like that. And I went to the ER.
Those are horrible.
Horrible.
Yeah, those are rough.
Yeah, they are. And I couldn't take the pain anymore. I had to give our son to our neighbor real quick so I could run to the ER and wait for Elysa to get back from work. And when I went in there, they gave me fluids and Toradol. At my house, I have a ton of fluids and Toradol, right?
Right.
So I had to pay for what I already have. But the key was I needed to find out if it was actually kidney stones, right? I needed the was it the X-ray or the sonogram or whatever, CAT scan to figure out that it was actually, and I ended up getting transferred to the hospital and surgeries and the whole thing. But in a case like that, the person needs to go, right? You need to go to the hospital. But if we can help keep other people out of the hospital, out of a $1,000 bill for
because they have food poisoning or something.
Yeah, for a $200 IV. I mean, and we do like to market about that because even though it is good marketing for us, it's important for them to understand that they don't need to be swallowed up by big insurance bills, right?
Right.
We help a good chunk of that.
So not only is it going to be cheaper for them to get the IV, but you're also actually going to go to their home to do it.
Yep, exactly.
That's another thing.
Yeah. We've also somehow fallen into a lot of pregnant women. So we're doing a ton of fluids, just fluids on pregnant. The doctors are, suggesting that these women need fluids because they're dehydrated. It's very hot here in Florida. And so they're actually, OBs are giving our business out, and then these women are giving us calls, which has been great. Yeah. It's fun for me to see like the progression of the pregnancies. We've been invited to quite a few baby showers. There was a time I went to I went to an IV. This lady was definitely in labor, but she's like, no way, I'm just sick. The next day I checked on her. She sent a picture of her and the baby. So she was totally in labor.
Oh, wow.
Like, it's just fun, you know,
Wow.
now she's like, you see, every time I see her, she's like, you see, this is the baby you helped give birth to. I'm like, I did not help anything, but okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That's awesome. Yeah. No, so it sounds like, yeah, you found a nice little niche there with that, and you can get people referring you. And really, yeah, you're creating a community too with your business. Like you said, you're being invited to baby showers and things like that. So, you know, you kind of are keeping that, you know, that family business, small town kind of feel. And, you know, I think that's evident that patients love that. So that's awesome.
Yeah. And go ahead.
Very cool.
I was going to say, we were very fortunate for where we moved into this brand new city, because, you know, them supporting small businesses has helped us, right? Friends we've met have helped us. The word of mouth thing, just, you know, it helped us, you know, a great deal. And I'll also say, events, pop-up market, tent events helped us tremendously. We did more in 1 year than probably someone would have done or would have wanted to do in 2 years.
Right.
You know, obviously it's a lot. It gets us burnt out. But it's so worth it for the exposure alone. You know, we go into
it's
it.
Important.
Yeah, we go into it saying, you know, we just paid our $50 or $75, or if we sponsor a few $100, whatever, that's it. The money's gone, right? We're going for exposure. And if we get people to sit in our chair for a service, that money is just extra, because of the amount of people that call us after the event, pay for the event, and then some.
Right. So like, that's a part that is super important, you know, to people. I think, again, talking to other nurses in the business, they get really discouraged when they do events and nobody pays anything, right? Like they're just talking to all these people, but they don't get anybody to sit in the chairs. And we've told them so many times that just keep track of who calls you, because you could sell 1, 2, 3 things and then make your money back, right? So it's all about exposure. And sometimes what we've found is that if you do an event a few times, like the same event, let's say a market or something, and you do it 3, 4 times, the third, fourth time, these people have seen you a few times and they're like, oh, okay, this person's legit, right? Like they don't want some random person to stick a needle in their arm or, you know, give them a shot or whatever. This is something where they have to trust you. So I do find that you have to do them consistently in order to really see anything, but it's been great.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. You put in the time and the effort and it pays off. Right. So you got to stay committed, like you're saying.
Yeah. Very, and those events are very important. You have to get your name out there no matter what you do. If you can't get your name out there and let people know who you are, what you do, and the name of your company, it's not going to happen. It's just not. It's, you can't spread, you can't expand, you can't get your name out there, because at the end of the day, all right, there's going to be, you know, 85, 90% of the people are not going to know what IV therapy is.
Yeah.
They're going to maybe hear about it, or like Elysa was saying about the hangovers or something like that, but they don't know the business, right? They don't know what it is and why it works. You have to be out there educating and meeting people.
Yeah. And that was really, and maybe that's shifting a little bit. You still have to educate, but I know, you know, IV therapy is a little bit newer, right, as an industry as a whole. So maybe, you know, the public in general is just getting a little bit more educated. I think it's still critical to get out and educate, but, you know, even a year ago or when you guys got started, it's probably even changed since then, right? Where people are like, IV infusion, like what's vitamin infusion? What's that? You know, what would I do that for? What even is it? Right. So I still think we're still in that stage where you're right. We do have to educate. You have to let the public know what you have, how it helps, and things like that. So that's actually great. I'm glad you brought that up. So.
The results, I think, from IV therapy, from the people that are getting the service, is starting to spread more and more, right? and people are starting to talk about it and or hear about it, and they're looking to maybe try it. I always tell people, listen, if you're really interested in it and you've never done it before, you have nothing to lose to try it.
Right.
Nothing to lose. And as long as us as a company and Elysa and our nurses manage expectations, right? You're not going to get a Myers cocktail and start flying around like Superman.
You're not? Oh, man.
Sorry. You know, that doesn't work. That doesn't happen. But if we can manage it, educate on what you're going to feel like, how you're going to feel like. You just had someone, I think one of my nurses actually at this lady's house right now. She's asking me, how long does it take to kick in? I said, you know, it all depends. It's very person specific. I can't do that for sure, right? But then again, I also don't want to give her a guarantee of anything.
Right.
Managing the expectations.
Yeah, of course, it's going to
help the service.
Yeah. Managing expectations is key. Definitely. Yeah. My wife, she's a nurse practitioner, and she has 2 clinics, one in Phoenix and one in Northern Arizona. And that's a big thing with hers. When she was just at a training the other day with a nurse, and that was a really, really big thing with her, is managing expectations, especially when you sit down with a client, you're starting an infusion, managing those expectations, not only for the infusion itself, you know, getting poked, what they're going to feel, things like that, but how it's going to affect them after, things to look for, building that comfort level and really building that trust in what you guys are giving them, right? And who you are. So
the trust, and
definitely.
I believe, and I could speak to about, you know, for Elysa on this one too, that the number one thing on the business side of things is customer service. It is the easiest, most overlooked piece of business that there is. It takes almost no effort to have good customer service. But when you don't have good customer service or bad customer service, it's going to ruin your business.
Right.
So if you that extra mile, right, that little bit extra to show people that you care and that you're reliable, that, you know, what you say, you're going to fulfill that, right? Customer service is going to either grow your business or it's going to destroy your business. I'm sure, Ben, I'm sure you've seen really bad customer service before, right? For anyone that you're hiring or something. It's terrible.
And that's a big part of like our interview process when we're looking for, you know, anywhere from, you know, whether it's a nurse or it's administrative or front desk, it doesn't matter. Customer service is at every level in your business, from the first phone call to the follow-up after the appointment. So very critical. So real quick, just for the sake of time, I know that, like you said, before we started, we were talking before this got started about this question, and you said that, you know, it could be a really long-winded answer, but for the sake of time, and just like what comes to top of mind real quick is, if you knew back then what you know now, like what would you do different, or what changes would you have made, or would you have done anything different in the beginning?
So yeah, I mean, ton, but the one thing that totally sticks with my mind is that people are going to approach you because they think what you have is a great opportunity. Like, we were approached by everybody under the sun to like, hey, let's partner up. Let's do this. Let's do that. And we were like really excited about all those opportunities because we wanted to grow our business. And I think we walked ourselves into certain things that probably were not the greatest idea, because we were really excited about expanding and didn't think about what kind of limitations that was going to hold us to, because we entered into something with somebody. So like I'll just give you a quick example. Like we were approached by somebody. There's a lot of plastic surgery in South Florida, and there's a lot of homes. They call them recovery homes, and they get these a bunch of women from these plastic surgery locations, and they recover them in these homes. Like, let's say 5 girls at the same time. And so we were approached by an owner of a home who wanted to contract us with IVs. And I was like, yeah, this is a great idea. It's guaranteed IVs all the time. And I was like, let's give them a great discount. and it never worked out. And I then realized, like, I'm driving an hour out of my way to give these people this really great discount, thinking that it's going to do something great for us. And it never did anything. And thank God, because now looking at it, like, that was a terrible idea. Just like partnering with people. If you don't need a business partner, don't do it. Like, do it on your own. You are able to do it, but don't partner with people unless you absolutely have to for like financial reasons or whatever. But if you can figure it out on your own, do it. Like, that's my biggest thing. Don't walk into something that you're tied to because you're excited. Like, stop, think it all through first before you do it.
And ask advice from other people. We kind of did. We were too excited, right? We're like, this is like the greatest thing ever. You know, we're going to expect if your expansion doesn't grow organically and you're forcing it, that's where, you know, there's room for mistakes and get yourself into a situation that you can't really get out of, like a locked in contract or something like that. We were very fortunate that lady never, you know, we didn't end up doing that, right? It would have, we would have given a lot of time and a lot of money away just by doing that, because we were overexcited and we were like 2 months into our business, right? Where if you sat back, thought, really went through it all, we maybe came, you know, up with a better, more educated, I guess is the word, you know, decision. And you know,
no, that's a great point. Yeah, no, that's a great point with the contracts and being tied into whether it's a partnership. I talk to a lot of people that are looking into, you know, different franchise type models and things like that. And I'm always a little bit leery of that type of model. And don't get me wrong, sometimes they can work really good. And I know people that have had a lot of success with that model. But at the end of the day, you're not totally in control, right? Like, you are tied to these contracts, and in a lot of cases, you're even tied to that medical director. So, you know, having that ultimate freedom as a business to really, you know, start how you want to start, and then being adaptable, right? And sometimes if you're tied to something, you can't be as adaptable as maybe you need to be, you know, in the future. So those are great points. Things might sound great up front, and they might sound rosy, and life is going to be wonderful, and this business is going to be simple. But the reality is it does take work, it does take dedication, it does take passion, which you guys have shown obviously all of that, and it's just awesome to see. So yeah, great point. So before we wrap up, I know that you guys are very active, like in our Facebook group. I know people have questions, people that are wanting to get into it. I know you guys have been really, really good about your willingness to work with people. I know you even have done some consulting and work with other clinics. But for people that, you know, maybe that live in your area, I was going to pull up your website here. So if people wanted to get in touch with you to get an IV, or if they had any questions for you guys, let me see here. I've seen a couple of different websites.
We have.
So is it just Next Level Mobile Infusion here that
that's the main one. Yeah. This is the one that I made when we first started the business, and I'm not a web designer. So, but you know what? At the end of the day, it gets the point across, right? The information is there, and I didn't pay thousands of dollars for someone to create a website for me, right? And you know, I've seen a lot of nice ones, a lot nicer than mine, but we didn't spend that money. We put that money somewhere else.
No, that's a good point. And I see that a lot too, is people spend thousands of dollars on their websites, and it's just really, at the end of the day, it's not necessary. There's a lot of really inexpensive website builders out there, and you know, that have really good SEO kind of like tutorials and stuff like that, where you can really boost that local SEO. But yeah, your website itself. But yeah, no, the website's nice. It's clean. It's straightforward. It shows who you are, what you offer, how to get in touch with you quickly, things like that. So
I think,
awesome.
Also, one of the main things, and we discussed this in the beginning, was that she had to be the main focal point of the business, right? It had to be Elysa. She's the
face,
nurse,
yeah.
right? The face of the business. That's why we wanted to put her on the front cover.
So
right?
people knew who you were getting when you walked in,
It
right?
wasn't
Because
random.
I was walking in your house. They saw me already. And we actually introduced all of our nurses on social media as well. So you can see their faces. So you know who you're getting when you walk in your house, because we are coming into your home. You're not coming to us.
Yeah.
So you have to be comfortable with who's walking in.
They're inviting us into their home, and we need to respect that. And we want them to feel comfortable, right? Because it could get awkward.
Yeah. So putting yourself out there is hard for some people on social media, but you guys have done a great job with that. I see your faces a lot, Elysa, especially doing it in people's living rooms and doing these infusions, but it's super, super important. Yeah.
Yeah.
So awesome. Great job. Any parting words of encouragement or advice? So if somebody that's like, you know what, I want to get into this business, I'm just scared to get started. Any quick words of encouragement for those people?
So I think anything worth doing is hard. It's going to take time, but it is 100% doable as long as you want it. And we're always available for any questions or anything. I know, again, like I said, your page has been a great resource for us. So, just seek the information for anybody who's really interested in doing it. It is scary, but anything that's new is scary, and it is definitely it's definitely dooable, 100%.
And it's
don't give up, and it's worth it.
It's a great business. It is a great business, and it can help a lot of nurses run and own their own business, right? Instead of working in the hospital for someone else. It's a very different life when you get to work for yourself. And as long as you have a roadmap on where to go and how to go about it, it'll be worth it at the end of the day. And you can do it. And you can do it. As long as they hit bad enough, you could do it.
Yeah. So, and your question at the beginning, who's going to pay for this stuff? Well, I think you've answered that, right? I think you clearly see there's people that will pay for it.
Apparently, I was wrong. I know it doesn't happen often, right? No, she reminds people of that. I tell that story. It's a good story because it's true. And it shows how I'm one of those people that you'll meet at an event that knows nothing about this business and now swears by it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, hey, you guys are an inspiration. So I've been following your journey for a long time, and it's just awesome to see the growth. And so keep up whatever you're doing. And looking forward to seeing what's next for you guys. So awesome.
And you as well. Thank you for having us on. And the stuff that you're starting to do, man, that was the stuff I was talking about, right? The consulting that I do as well as you do. We want to help. We try to keep the prices reasonable, right? And in that same breath, be able to actually help other nurses do this. Where you don't have to do it alone, basically. So the stuff that you got going on is fantastic. People should check that out for sure.
There's people that, I got this, but there's a lot of people that are like, a little bit of help is going to go a long way. So so awesome. Well, thanks guys, and appreciate you taking the time today.
Thanks you. Bye, man.
Take care.